Hey everyone, Eric with Rocket H, and tonight we start lesson 4 of our W900 build along. I'm going to change course just a little bit on this particular project because I finally went and looked at my photos, and guess what? I got to make a few more additions and changes to the sleepers on this truck that I'm doing. But the skills that we're going to put together you can apply to just about any truck you might want to build, so we're going to go for there. Excuse me. We're going to wait for just a couple people to get on board, and then we will get cranking because I normally start these at 8, but tonight I had to go get religion and didn't get out till 7:55. Anyway, Dylan's here. Good to see you. Greetings and happy Thanksgiving now that that's over. And the Bionic Daredevil is here. And Gitling, good to see you both. Well done. Good to see you. All right. Cool. Well, since we're starting late, there's really no reason to sit around and blather. We're just going to get straight to work. So what I'll tell you what we're going to do. First, we're going to review last week. If you recall, I showed you 2 separate ways to fill in your roof cap. So there's 2 ways to fill in a roof cap, and your homework, if you're building along, was to go ahead and sand this smooth. Okay? So if you followed along the way I'm doing it, you should have a smooth roof cap right now. And again, I showed you 2 different ways to do that. So here's one where I replaced the glass and you can see the JBL'd around the outside. And then this one that I just took the roof cap, glued it to the body, to the cab, and then used JB Weld throughout that. So that's where you should be on yours. So as I was mentioning here though, I kept forgetting to look at the photos of the real truck I'm replicating. And on the real truck, it does not have these rear skirts or fairings on the back of the sleeper. So we're going to cut these off, 2 sleepers, and then we're just going to go ahead and shave this down and shave it smooth. And then the particular truck actually on the real truck that I'm replicating, the sleeper is not this long. This is a 72-inch, I think. Anyways, this is a longer sleeper than what's actually on the real truck, and the real truck does not have these windows in it. So we're going to go ahead and close these windows up and then get this all smooth so we can go ahead and prime and paint. So a little bit of work here to do, and I'll show you everything step by step. So let's just get to cracking because we're late, so let's get going, huh? All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go run over here to my bandsaw, and we will hopefully get you tall enough that you can actually see it. Just a second. I didn't think this through, did I? I need a little bit of a step for you. All right, hang on. All right, there we go. Okay. So for you watching at home, sorry this is going to be noisy, but that's just the way it's got to be here. And I did notice that my blade's getting a little dull, so it's probably going to howl just a little bit more than normal. Now you can do this with a Dremel. It doesn't have to be a bandsaw. I use a bandsaw because I own a bandsaw. That's why I'm using it. So you can see here, we still have some work to do. You can actually use just a regular hobby saw if that's what you happen to have. You can get in here and cut that off that way, and then just use a file or something to file these down, especially if you wanted to keep all this detail on the back. You don't have to do what I did, but this is a fast way to do what I'm showing you. The next we're gonna go and I'll set you down just a little bit. And we'll go to my handy dandy sander. Let's see here. We're gonna just change this. I'm gonna put you at a whole different angle tonight. Normally I don't have you sitting right here like this. There we go. Okay, that's that. And they're hot, so watch out. Watch out, that's hot. Okay, there, now we're back. Scoot you up and plug you in. There we go. Now, I did make a mistake on this one. And can you see the mistake I made right there? I got my saw a little too close, so we could fill that in with a little body putty. That won't be a problem. But this one turned out really, really well. Look at that. So we got rid of all that detail back here. We can always replace those lights and different things with decals or stickers or something like that, but for this purpose, we're just gonna leave it nice and smooth. Okay, next. I do need to fill in these cabs, or these windows for, my gosh, man, can't think of the words. So we're gonna go to our parts bin here and see if we can find our windows. There's one. Whoops, as I grab it again. There's two. I think I got into my parts bin for another project, so I may have to go rob another parts bin. And you know why that happened? Because I didn't have a name on that, that's why. So we got another parts bin here. Is this Peterbilt parts or Kenworth parts? These are Kenworth parts, all right. Yep, there's one. And there's two, all right. Actually, these are both Kenworth parts. You know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna put these together. There, one less bin to sort out and worry about. And those odd decals will stick in there. Okay. So, like we did last week, we're gonna go ahead and stick these windows right in the holes. And the first one I did like this, I was reasonably pleased with the results, and I'll show you what one looks like doing it this way, or the way I did it. Now, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, I'm saying this is the way I did it. So if you happen to find a better way to do what I'm about to accomplish, I would love to know. I did, on one, I did go ahead and I put JB Weld in there without the glass, with this plastic window. Wow, that one's kind of weird. I just went ahead and JB welded it in, and then it didn't work out so well. I wasn't really pleased with those results. So on the second one of these I've done like this, I went ahead and just replaced this plastic window, and that seems to help this process along. If you can get the, why is that not sitting in there? That's kind of weird. Huh. That's not usual. Well, you know how we're gonna fix that. Let's cut those pegs off, and that'll eliminate that obstruction. Because we're just gonna glue them in solid. And these windows actually, on this particular model, are painted anyway, so you can't see through them. It's like there's something stuck in there. There's something that's weird. There. Ah, you dirty dog. All right. We have our glue bottle. I'm just going to go ahead and goober some glue in there. And I just used way too much glue for anything that's healthy and normal. But that's all right. It's ours. We can if we want, right? Well, maybe it'll work if it doesn't quit sticking to my finger. All right. Sometimes everything works out great, and then other times it just doesn't. There we go. Now it'll be, well, doggone it. You dirty dog. Huh. Okay, you monkey. And I'm working a little fast, and that doesn't help. Instead of taking my time, since I arrived late, I'm a little flustered. I'm just going to smear that around. There. You can see, if depending on what level of detail you want, you can actually make this a pretty fast process. You'll notice, we cut those rear fenders, fairings off, or sleeper skirts, or whatever you want to call them. We cut those off and sanded that smooth in about 0 time. If a guy was really after it, you could be in paint yet tonight if you wanted to. But that's not necessary for most of you guys. When you got plenty of time, there's really no rush to get it done. And honestly, there's no rush on these for me either. I just like to keep things moving because it makes me happy when I see stuff done. That's happiness. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And goober a little glue in there. Listen to my dog bark outside. You probably couldn't hear it, but I can. In here. And that's Instaset. Again, if you're new and never seen this before, this is Instaset in a needle that's just been filed down to a dull point. And that way it allows me to put exactly how much where I want, and it's just less mess. Because the applicator that comes with it's in a aerosol, or like a spray bottle, and to me it's just messy. But look at that. Boy, 1, 2, 3, 4 drops, that's it. And it's done, man. Now you can kind of keep on trucking. Okay, now, this is what let me show you the end result of this. So I'm going to show you the end result real quick. So you can. So the process we're doing, I did on this particular cab right here. This is also a W900. This is the exact same sleeper. The difference is the hole where the window was has been filled in and sanded smooth. Now you'll notice between the two, all the rivets are gone above right here at the bottom of the sleeper, and then this door here, all those rivets remain, but everything else around here's all been gone. That's all smooth now. And that seems to work pretty well for this particular style of sleeper that I'm trying to replicate. I'm not saying it's the right way, I'm saying it's the way I'm doing it, and it gets the results I want, and my clients are happy, and since they pay the bills, if they're happy, we're doing it right. Ideally, if a guy were to 3D print this, you could make a plastic sleeper and then make it exactly the way you needed it. If you wanted to spend the money to have it, or if you have the skill to design this, you could do that, and that would actually be even better. But I have no ability to do 3D printing or 3D design work, so we're just going to keep doing it the way we're doing it. I am a fan of JB Weld, so we're going to use that on this particular purpose, or this purpose again. And since it's cheap, we're going to use a little more than we need, probably. Ooh, let's go ahead and goober that off, too. And I'm not seeing your questions, so if you have any questions, you're going to have to wait just a few more minutes while I do this process. And then once we get that done, we can take a short break and go ahead and answer questions. Let me get my rag here. I always keep a bunch of rags around too. It's just handy for wiping goober off and glue, paint, whatever happens to be around the shop that needs cleaned up. And before you ask, I neither know how to do 3D design work, nor do I own a 3D printer. Those are two things that I just haven't taken any interest in learning or owning yet. So I use Shapeways here in the United States, and then I use factbox.com in China. Yeah, that's way more JB Weld than we really need, but hey, like I said, it's cheap and it's easy to work with, so who cares? So we're going to put on more than we need, and then we're going to sand all that plastic, and everything's going to be nice and smooth and gorgeous. I mean, this is a stupid amount of JB Weld to use right here, guys. So I do not expect anyone here following along to use this much, because it's crazy. But it comes off really easy, and like my roof caps here, I came out after work and sanded those down in about, I don't know, it took me about 10 minutes to get those sanded down the way I wanted it. Yeah. So you'll see me using way more than I really need, but it's just so easy to work with, it doesn't bother me to use more than I need. Yeah, that is a ridiculous amount. That is huge. And you're going to get my finger in it. Look at that. Slide you off to the side. Well, wouldn't you know? Don't put it on its side, Eric. Set it down like that. Another reason to keep you some handy-dandy rags around. Now let's see, did we learn our lesson? Will we do it twice, or will we just do it one time? So when we go back to sand this, and I'll explain how I'm going to do this, so if you're following along and you're building along, you can take this and do it yourself. I'm going to rough out this JB Weld with something like this. So I'll get kind of the worst of it. I'll just knock the top rough edges off with this big file right here, okay? This is just a wood file. I've had this for years. I think I actually got it from my dad in a toolbox of assorted things. So I'll go ahead and use that just to knock down the rough edges. And then I'll take another file like this, and this is 60 grit sandpaper. I'll go ahead and I'll just take a chunk of it. Well, here I have a piece from earlier tonight. This is what I was doing on the roof cap. I took that 60 grit sandpaper around this file, and then I would sand off. And I used this file because if you remember from last week, I put an extraordinary amount of this silly JB Weld on here. So I just went ahead and roughed that out. It took me about a couple minutes to get the worst of it off. And then I came back in here with this 60 grit on my file and sanded it down to bare metal, like you see, all the shiny metal there. That's what I did, just using these two tools. And if I needed some fine detail, like right here's a little chunk, I'd just come in here with my file, just like so, and just knock off any other edges, or even use a knife to cut out some of the weird stuff that didn't come out with sandpaper. And then that was what I did, and that's exactly what I'm going to do on this. I'll come in here, I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to knock down the rough edges on both sides, well, all four sides actually. Then I'll come in with these two tools, and I'll begin sanding down the window, to the window, and then sanding all of this perfectly flat, like you saw on this truck here. Okay, so I'm going to sand all of this flat so you can't see any of these lines from the window. The window's there, but you can't see it because we've used body filler and JB Weld and got rid of the lines so you can't see them. Actually, if you happen to have a Dremel with a sanding disc, you can get in here with a sanding disc and take out these rivets all the way. You can actually do pretty fine detail work. I was really surprised how just slick that worked, taking out those rivets with the Dremel and a sanding pad. And you could get all those rivets out all the way around here once you kind of got the worst of this JB Weld knocked out. Then you could come back in with your sandpaper and then do the fine sanding to get everything just perfectly flat. Worked really, really slick, man. It'll take you, I don't know, it depends really on what kind of tools you have and how confident you are in the work you're doing. But, you know, I could have those done in 30 minutes probably, you know, and get them ready. I mean, they would be about ready to paint provided there's no air holes in the JB Weld. Sometimes there might be an air hole sneak in here or something's not quite right. You have some sort of blem. And you know, a lot of times what I'll do is I do all of my body work, get it everything as perfect as I think it should be or could be, and then I prime it, and then I'm looking for pinholes or nicks or dings or anything like that. And if I see any of that, then I'll come back with something like this, and I'll smear some of that on because this is just stupid simple to work with. I'll smear some of that on there, let it dry, sand it again, hit it with a bit of primer, and if it's perfectly smooth, I don't see any lines or nicks or dings or imperfections, then I'll go ahead and use rubbing alcohol to take off any impurities and then add color. So that's what we're going to do. All right. Okay, short lesson tonight. We knocked that out in about 20 minutes. Where's my stool? So if you happen to have a sleeper truck where you don't want those sleeper fairings on the back, you can knock those out. Showed you how to do that. If you want to go ahead and close that window, there's one way to do that. That's not the only way, but that's a way to do it. It's a way I kind of like, and my clients seem to like it, so I'm going to keep doing it until I learn something new or different. You know, ideally, we would have the right sleeper. You know, I ought to spend the money and just have somebody design a proper sleeper that matches the real one instead of making this quasi right sleeper. But practically speaking, at this moment, this is the best option I have. Until, you know, I like I said, I want to spend some money and have it designed and then go through the test prints and all that other stuff. But at the moment, I'm just not there. So maybe somebody else will, who knows? All right, let's see some questions here. Gitling says, have you sold your display? Yes. Well, I think so. I don't have cash in hand, so nothing is sold until I got money. So that's kind of the way I handle anything I'm selling. It's sold when I got money in my hands. But tenant, I have it spoken for, so we'll see if that comes through. Now, if somebody says, Eric, I got money, and I will go to my client and say, or to the guy that says he wants it and say, okay, here's the deal. You can send money and it's sold, or this other guy gets it. Okay, login self. Hey, my B-day's the 12th. All right, going to get a DCP. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Get a good one. Of course, they're all good, I think. Dennis says hello, good to see you. And Matthew, hello to you too. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Yeah, I think we're in good shape here. So your homework now, if you're building along, go ahead and cut your sleeper skirts off. Actually, I don't even know what those are. I think that sleeper skirt, fairing, I don't know what it is, but cut that thingy off if you want to. If you're building along the way I am, cut them off. And then go ahead and smooth this out. Oh, and I almost forgot. I pointed out a blem, then I got to jibber jabbering and forgot to fix my blem. So we're just going to do that quick. Since we have JB Weld mixed up, we're just going to go ahead and smear some on, and then we can sand that down later. That's not a big deal. Okay, so that's what I did there, because I had my blade got a little bit into the back of the sleeper, but we've just fixed it, and then we'll sand it down. So that's going to be your homework, is to go ahead, cut your sleeper skirts off, fill in the window, and then you can begin body work, taking out those rivets and then sanding all your JB Weld smooth. Excuse me. And that's your homework for next Monday. Next Monday, what we'll do is we're going to shoot, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work ahead on one, and then I'll do the demos on the second one, so you can actually see what I'm going to do. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and do all the body work on one of them, and then I'll have another one to do body work on live next week. And then what we'll do is we're going to prime one of them and just see if there's any blemishes and anything we need to fix before we go into paint. So this is going to be a two-tone, so what we're going to do then is the whole thing gets primed, but the hood, after primer, just the fenders are going to get Radiant Fire Metallic on the fenders, because that's the color of the fenders. And then the following week, we are going to mask the fenders, because they'll be painted Radiant Fire. They'll be painted metallic red. And then we'll come back and we'll add the dark gold metallic to the whole thing. So that'll be the sleeper, the cab, and the hood. Will all be that dark gold metallic. Okay. So that's kind of the progression. So we have 2 more lessons, and then after, so primer, blah, blah, blah. We might be doing assembly in week 3, 3 weeks from today. So it really depends on how fast we get things done. If things move along next week really quickly, then there just won't be as much to do, and everything will be accelerated, which we like. Okay. There's your homework. If there's no other questions, I'm going to let you go. Now's a good time to ask, where am I at in the shop? I will tell you this. I've got to put S670 decals on a John Deere 790. And then that truck, that combo back there behind me, you can't see it, is ready to go in the mail. So there was a Freightliner, a combine trailer, a dolly, and then what is now going to be a 670 John Deere combine, all together in one unit. That goes in the mail. Let me see, and then we've got, I got 4 Peterbilts for Christmas. No, 3 Peterbilts, a Kenworth for Christmas, and then I've got a 379 back there that's done. I got to do one thing to the trailer tonight, and it's ready to go in the mail. I got this, there's a 379 oil-filled truck. That just needs decal, clear coat, and assembly. And then I have a 389 over here, and then and then 2 more Peterbilts, and then all my Christmas projects are done. Luckily, I have all day Saturday, and I have a day off tomorrow, so I have all day tomorrow. I'm going to be busy. Boy, I'd like to knock those 4 out right there. Getting those 4 done would be okay, and getting decals on this 389 would be... Actually, just getting them all done. That's better, because then I get paid, and I love getting paid. That's fun. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to lesson 3. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to let you go. If you haven't thought about it, go over to diecastlab.com, subscribe there, take a look around, see what you think. That is the world's only diecast classroom, step-by-step lessons, just like this, where we go through and step-by-step, we just learn how to do diecast and make kick-butt models. That's the point. I say it regularly, I will say it again. If I make one model for you, I've made one model. One person gets what they want. However, there's a few of you watching tonight. If all 5 of you or 6 of you or however many end up seeing this, if you learn how to get what you want, then I've helped that many more people, and many more people get the kick-butt models they want that their friends will be jealous of when they're dead. So make sure you check that out. That is the only diecast classroom in the world. Take advantage of it. I want to help you learn and just have fun, man. We're not curing cancer, are we? But we're just having a kick-butt time making cool semis. What more can you ask for, really? I'm serious. What more can you ask for? It's just good time. All right. Good night. Have a good one.